Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you guys are at in the world. This is your boy, the Street Level Marketer, and I'm going to give you what many people have been asking me is, Stan, what trades do you actually take utilizing this system? I know you gave a bunch of scenarios, but which ones do you take? And the answer is all of them, every one. So I'm going to break down all of them. I only have 4 scenarios that I take utilizing this gold system, and I'm going to give you specifically when I take them, what's my targets, and what I'm going for. So make sure you watch this video, take good notes, and you can use it for future reference. So let's start with the first one. First one is honestly, is one of my favorite. It's the star. I love the setup when I get it off the star. I'm patiently waiting on that star, but I know when I get it, there is some type of trade going to come up for me. It's just I got to wait for it. And y'all do know the rule about trading. The market takes from the impatient and gives to the patient. So be patient and let the market get set up. Don't be anxious. Wait for it. Take a trade. All right, so the star. Star is my first setup. 15-minute window. We're going to use the last star that we saw so we don't have to go back and look so much into the future or in the past. All right, so the star was right here on Friday, right at 17:45 Central Standard Time. That's 9:45 Eastern. That is 10:45. So I got a star here. The first thing I want to do before I ever take a trade is I want to know where is the market is moving currently. And I find that out in the hour window with our slow longs. Slow longs is telling me the direction. So my star was here. That's my direction. So I know now if I take a trade going up, I'm trading against this. So therefore, I automatically tell myself I'm not looking for a lot of pips. I'm looking for a good number of pips, but I ain't looking to ride that thing all the way up to the moon. Don't be trying to be all special and say, oh, I know it's going to go retest this new high. If you're good like that, great. But if you just want to learn how to scalp some pips out of the market, that's what I do. All right. I know I'm against it, so I'm not finna try to grab a lot of pips. So what I do, star close, I get a signal notification. So if you don't have the notifications set up, make sure you do that. All you got to do is go to tools, go to options, go to notifications, check both boxes, put your meta quote ID in, and boom, you will be getting those signals coming to you, because every indicator that we have with the TFU has push notifications to come straight to your phone on your MetaTrader. All right, so star. Now I go to the 1-minute window. That's the first place I want to go to look for a trade. All right, that's the first place I want to go because I want to get the earliest entry possible off of that star once it's ready. Star is right here based on that 15-minute window, and I have it on option number 1. When I am looking for the earliest entry coming off the star, I have it on option number 1, especially when I am against the trend, because I want to get in really early and I want to get out. All right. I want to get in early and I want to get out. So option number 1 coming off the star only. But once I get my pips off of that trade, which you can see very clearly, that's where we would have got our trade. Let me go here. Let me close that real quick. Star was here. It pulled back. Y'all like, man, that's 80 some pips. Okay, what if it had pulled up? Y'all jumped in right here and then it shot back down. Then you've been like, man, let the market do what it's going to do. I know I'm against the trend, so I'm going to wait. I waited, gave me the trade right there. I went to TP2. I grabbed me a quick 30 pips. Oh, y'all, that's just 30 pips, but you could have had all 90 plus 100. Okay, well, you do it. I'm just following what I see. I got my early entry, went to TP2. I know I'm against the trend. I got out. As soon as I get out of that trade, guys, I immediately go back to my 1-minute window and I put it right back on option number 2, because option number 1 is super sensitive. All right. And so you can see here, even at your TP2, you got another entry off of the option number 2. All right. You could take this trade as well. But where's your target at? I'm going option number 1. Why? First of all, it's later in the day. We're right on the edge of the strike zone because after 10 o'clock, I'm typically done with the market. So I'm at the tail end of my strike zone. So why am I trying to go way up here? I already know I'm against the trend. Why am I trying to go way up here to TP3? Why am I even trying to go to TP2? Well, I've already caught my 30-some pips here. So if I want to get a few more pips, I could just go to TP1. That's another 20 pips. Had a little bit of drawdown. Boom, you got it. That's 50-something pips just on 2 trades. So that's the first scenario that I use to get in trades with this system. Is off the 15-minute window. I use the option 1 as my early entry, and then I immediately, once I hit take profit, I go to option 2. If it gives it to me, then I'm going to go to take profit 1 if I'm against the 1 hour window. And if I am with it, I can possibly go TP3 on option 1, TP2 on option 2. Now, I know I just said a whole mouthful, but so slow it down, back it up. You guys know what I'm talking about. All right, so the next way for me to get into this trade is off of, let me look and see, I got my notes here. All right, is the 15-minute window using the 5-minute window. So let's use the same scenario, guys. We got the 15-minute window star. So you notice I'll keep going back to the star because I like the star. Star gives me exhaustion periods, points. It may continue to go down, but it letting me know that it's going to run out of gas eventually. So I need to wait. All right. So I get the star again here. So then I go to the 5-minute window. All right. So in the 5-minute window, there it is right there. That's where I had the star. And so far, I do not have, let me see what option I'm on. Oh, let me just make this note. If the star is against the hour window, do not try to take that trade out of the 5-minute window. Let me say it again. If you get a star and it's going against the hour window, do not try to use the 5-minute window as an entry off of that star. Why? Because you are too late. Against the hour, use the 1. Now, if you're with the hour, you can definitely use the 5 and the 1. But against it, only use the 1-minute window. So I'm going to give you a scenario real quick. If you were with the 1 hour window, all right, 5-minute window, all right, let's go to the 15-minute, scroll down. Y'all going to have to go back and relook at these again. All right, so where is a good trade? I don't really see one here. Because we got this right here. The star came on, the transition took place right here. Now, what you can do sometimes, guys, is if you get a star in the hour window, you could use the 5-minute window off of the hour. I don't use it that much, so I don't even want to, let's disregard that because that's not actually one of the ways. I've seen it, but not enough to use it as a option. All right, so in the 15-minute window, you got your star. Oh, there it is. 15-minute window, you have your arrow. That's the word I want to use. You have your arrow in the 15-minute window. And then you go to the 5-minute window off of your arrow. Your arrow came back over here on 127,645. So that's somewhere, tail end of the Asian session going into London. All right, so you had your arrow here. This is just a reversal lucky arrow, nothing special about it. I think I have the settings on it for a 50, just giving me information. I do not trade these arrows, but in the 5-minute window on Friday during the Asian session, let's go 5-minute window. There it is. My arrow was here. If you were up trading that London session, there is your trade right there. Option should be option. Yeah. After you leave the Asian session, I go to, I have to, let me double back on that. There's your trade here. There's your arrow. There's your entry. There's your TP1. Again, I typically go to about TP2, so I would have got 20 pips and got out of the trade. All right, some of you guys will want to go TP3 and all that. You have some other things you can read to stay in that trade a little longer. So that's how the second way I'll take the trade. Let me rephrase it. Star is the 1 minute window. I love it when it's with or against it because I'm getting in early. On option 1 is my first one. Then I go to option 2 in the 1 minute window. Next one is the arrow in the 15-minute window. I do not use the 1 minute window to get into the trade for the off of the arrows. I do not use the 1 minute window to get in those trades. Now I'm looking at a way to possibly do that, but I don't have it solid, so I'm not going to tell you guys to do that. But I use the 5 minute window coming off of the arrow, because the arrow is a lot more sensitive than the star, so it can push down way more, and the exhaustion is not as extensive as it is coming off the star. All right, so 5 minute window, that's your trade. Boom. All right, the third way, let me keep moving, I don't want to talk all day. The third way I take a trade is another one of my favorites, is off of the actual slow long. Though we do not trade the slow longs, they are great information of setting up a really nice trade in the lower time frame. So I'm going to give you an example. Here is our slow long. It actually came and closed on this arrow here, and then it pushed back. Okay, that's the reason why we don't trade these, because they move forward and backward based on where the market is going. But it closed here. It sent me a notification. This was on right at the opening of the New York session on Thursday. So right around 9 o'clock, I got a signal. So when I got that signal, I immediately went to the 5 minute window. 5 minute window. And I actually got the signal a little sooner than when it closed. It came right here. We had some news. Is that right? Let me see here. Yeah, that's right. That was right. We had some news. So remember, what is the option time that you should be trading? You have option number 2. So this actually was showing a bullish setup right here, and price pushed down. So if you saw the slow long forming in the hour window, then you got a bullish sale in the strike zone against it. You probably should have waited. All right. Plus there was news right here. This candle right here is complete news. So I would have avoided this trade, 1, because it was the news, 2, because I had a slow long forming at the time, and so I would not have taken the trade. But once that slow long closed, here is very, very important, guys. I want you guys to look for the very first pip master in the 5 minute window that agrees with the direction of the 1 hour window. I'll say it again slowly. When you get the slow long to close in the hour window, you go to the 5 minute window, and you may have to wait, but what you're looking for is the very first pip master in the 5 minute window that agrees with the direction of your hour window. So it closed right here at 1600, 1700. So we have to go to the 5 minute window and go to 1700. It closed right here on this candle right there. So we can't go backwards. We can look and say, do we have anything? Nope. So we wait. Stan, why wouldn't you jump in this trade here? I don't know that that's what that's going to do. I have no earthly idea. Man, it was great, but I didn't know that because I trade what I see. So I missed that trade. I missed it. Guys, be okay with missing a trade. So I'm going. Uh-oh. Where is my first trade? Now I'm in the Asian session. When I'm in the Asian session, I'm actually going to change my option, because in the Asian session, I only trade off of option number 3. I do not trade option number 2, so I changed it to option number 3. And guess what? It's in the same place. This is the very first signal coming off of the hour window. Guys, when I see that, I kind of go a little heavy. I'm not going to even joke. I ain't going to lie. I go a little heavier on my lot size because I like the setups coming off of the hour window. Please do not go heavy just because I said that. That's just something that I do. So my signal is right here. Got in the trade. I literally go to TP3, or I will go until I get some type of setup, either in the 1 or about 50 pips. I'm going to be true transparent. I put about 50 pips. I get 50 pips and then it drops 70, 80, 90, 100. And of course, I'd be like, oh, I should have stayed in that trade. I got my 50 pips and I'm gone. All right. Why am I confident about the 50 pip move on there? Because it's coming off of my slow longs. My slow longs, excuse me, typically gives you a really nice movement before it makes a movement back the opposite direction. So that is the third way that we trade. All right, slow long, wait for it to close. It's going to give you a signal. Then you take the very first pip master that agrees with the same direction that your slow long is in, and you take that trade. All right, so happened this was right in the strike zone, so this was a perfect setup. It was in my strike zone. I was going to take the trade anyway because it was in the strike zone, but it's the first trade coming off the slow long, so I knew it was going to be a real good trade. So I definitely gathered a lot of pips. So I even think I sent a screenshot. I was probably in that thing multiple times. I'm not telling y'all to do that. I'm just telling you what I did. All right. So that's the third way. Now, the final and fourth way that we trade this system would be the strike zones. That's the fourth way we trade. The strike zones. What are the strike zones? I know I've had a lot of people ask me, Stan, what are these strike zones you're talking about? All right, guys, on every one of your systems, you have something that's called the market open line. The market open line is basically the lines that I use to create the strike zone. So let me break them down to you. They do not mean what you see over here. I'm going to give you what they actually mean to me. All right. So in the Tokyo Open, that's basically the Asian session. You want to make sure you put that on 2. Okay. 2 basically is the 2 o'clock candle. For me, Central Standard Time, that is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is 7 p.m. So you know that if you are a busy working person and you just got off of work and you ain't able to trade all the other sessions and you got a few hours to go in the market, write this down. You want to be ready to look for a trade between 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because by that time you should be getting ready to go to bed. You got to go to work in the morning, but hopefully you can get a trade before you go to bed. All right, that's the strike zone. All right, so the Frank I'm using as a pre-New York Open. The Frank Open I'm using as a pre-New York, and I put it at 14. This London is basically when I'm stopped trading, so I put it at 7, and that basically represents, what is that, 2? No, it should be 6. So it should be 6 right there. That represents when I'm done trading. This London close, it's going to be 18 because it represents when I'm done. And then I always keep the New York Open there because it's at 16, right at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. All right, so that's my strike zone, guys. So when you see that, when this little purple magenta line pops up, you know that the strike zone has been activated. So you can take the trade regardless of the direction of the star or even the slow long. But you need to remember that if you are against the star or you are against the 1 hour window, don't be trying to go to TP3. Grab your TP1 and get on out of there. All right, grab your 10, 15 pips and go on out of there. Don't try to be a hero trying to trade against the direction. If you are with it, then you can probably go for a few more pips. In this scenario, it was a perfect setup. It was in the strike zone. It was the first trade coming off of the slow long. So I knew I was going to try to maximize that trade. So the Asian session is from the 2 o'clock candle to the 6 o'clock candle. When I get a setup outside of here, I'm leery of taking the trade. Honestly, I'm getting ready to go to bed. So I'm done. If you trade the London session, I have no strike zones. Use the previous 3 ways of trading to use those trades, but don't try to use a strike zone because there is not one. Now, the next strike zone is the New York. My New York is a pre-New York right here, 14 candle, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if I get a setup in the side of this green line to this red line, and it is not any news at the same time that I get those setups, I'm going to take the trade. I will say it again. If I get a setup inside of the strike zone and it is not coming off of any news, nor and I'm not, well, if there's no news, I'm going to take the trade. Just be mindful that if you are against the direction in the hour window or an hour window, then you don't need to be going for TP3. But if you're with the direction, you probably can hold that trade for a little bit longer. So we got the trade. Make sure you're on the right option. Okay, so Asian session, you're on option number 3. Soon as you're done trading your Asian session, immediately before you go to bed, go to option number 2. Because if you don't, you wake up and you try to grab something in the New York session and you're on option 3, you may be a little late to the party. Now, is it bad to be on option 3? No, but you just might be slightly a little bit late to the party. So in this scenario, again, strike zone came here, started. We got our entry here. Guess what? It's bearish in my entry. It's agreeing with my direction, but it's not the first one. So it's the second one. So I'm not as, I wasn't as confident as I was on the first one, but it's still agreeing. So now I will probably look to take TP3, TP2, grab me 30, 40 pips and get on out of there. We enter the trade here inside the strike zone. It pulled back to me. I pulled down, boom. I would have actually got out of that trade right there. 40, 50 pips, and I haven't even hit TP3. I'm gone. That's just me. Some of you would have held it, got in the drawdown, been like, man, please get back to TP1, begging for the pips, but it ended up doing really, really good. It went all the way 100 pips, and you would have won that trade pretty good. All right. So therefore, let me just share with you, that is how we trade this system. I went a little bit long, but hopefully I don't get any more emails or texts about what trades I take. I broke all 4 of them down to you guys. Coming off of the 15-minute window, let me look at my notes again. 15-minute star. If I'm against the 1 hour window, I use option number 1 in the 1 minute window to go to my target. I typically go for like option, TP2 in the 1 minute window off of option number 1. If I use option number 2 and I'm against the 1 hour direction, then I'm going to simply go for TP1. Grab me 10, 12, whatever the pips is, and get on out of there. All right. And so if I am, the next way we trade is the arrows, the 15-minute arrows. So in the 15-minute arrows, we're going to use the arrows, but we're going to use the 5-minute window. So we use, if I'm in the Asian session, when that happens, I need to make sure that I am on option number 3. If I'm in the New York session, I want to make sure I'm on option number 2. Off the arrows, wait for my signal. It actually came right here. Where did it come? It came during the, where is that thing at? This came somewhere up in there. I don't forget where it came. But yeah, you got your signal there in the 5-minute. I think it came in the 5-minute window. You got your trade. It was during the London session. And you were able to take that trade. So let me look at it specifically because I don't want to forget. It was on the 27th. So on the 27th, let's go to the 27th. Your trade came right there. But it came during the London session. The arrow was here. First trade was there. You're done with the Asian session, so you should be on option number 2. I think this is option number 2. Yep. And that would have been your first trade coming off the arrow. I don't trade the London session because I'm asleep. So that's the second way. Arrow in the 15, 5-minute window, take the trade off of the arrow. If you're against the trend, again, TP1, TP2, you're with the trend, you can go for a little bit more. All right. The third way we trade is the 1-hour window. Wait for the slow long to close and then go to the 5-minute window depending on what session that comes in. If you're in the Asian session, make sure you're on option number 3. Then you take the very first, which this was it. This is the very first 5-minute setup coming off of that slow long in the hour window. I typically go for about 40-50 pips. All right, you pick whatever amount of pips you want. Do not use the pips that I take as the guarantee that's what you're going to get. I'm just giving you scenarios of what I take. Sometimes I only get 30. Sometimes I'll go for 50 and it only gives me 25. And so again, you just got to play with the numbers, but it typically has a big move coming off of that 1-hour arrow, and so therefore you can take that trade. All right, and then the fourth way that we trade is in my strike zone. Strike zone basically tells me that I have a good opportunity to get this trade, so I will go, if I'm in the Asian session, I need to make sure that I am on option number 3. All right, option number 3. If there's no news that will affect this decision, I will take the trade based on the strike zone. Strike zone starts at my purple line, ends at my red line for the Asian session. As soon as I'm done with the Asian session, I have to go back, change my setting back to option number 2 because I'm going to the New York session. The reason why I do that is the volume is a lot faster and you can get in that trade a lot quicker. You don't want to be late to the party during the New York session. There was no news here. That was an easy trade. Boom, off of here. It's agreeing with the hour window, so you could probably go for about 40-50 pips. Get your pips, guys. That was a good day of trading. All right. So you have gotten all 4 ways that I trade the TFU Gold system. If you want to get access to it, always shoot me an email or a text. If you are good with whatever you're doing, hey, let's go get this money. It is a 7-point-something trillion dollar a day industry. So it's a lot of money out there. All right, guys. Y'all take care. Peace.